Good morning, everybody. I hope this video finds you well. Today I want to talk about affirmation campaigns. I have other videos I'm going to put in Patreon for those of you who want to know more DIY stuff. I actually wrote up a couple of videos and I'm in process of editing them. It's a long process, so have a little bit of patience. I also have something on domain and some thoughts about egress upon death. That's also in process going to be edited. So don't think that just because there's a dearth of things that I'm not busy. I am busy. But what is you have to be aware of is that I'm in the middle of a bunch of stuff going on, and also under lockdown, coronavirus lockdown. Doesn't look like lockdown, does it? Yeah, that's the way it works. Okay, basically what I want to talk about here is affirmation campaigns. The first part that you have to know about affirmation campaigns is you have to do them. Not you just say some things out loud, or you just write some things down, or you do some stuff and then wait and then forget about them. You have to do a campaign, which is you do affirmation. I'm now doing 3 months on, 4 months off. That's my campaign. I used to do 3 and 3. For a while, I was doing 1 and 1. And actually, during my Ben Mingnian, my cursed year, I was doing 1 week on, 1 week off. But you should be doing the affirmation campaigns, a full campaign, okay? But what I want to talk about here is the manifestation of the reality. There are those out there that are suddenly finding themselves in a situation and they're hurried up and they're trying to vocalize and cause things to happen and forestall some stuff. Oh God. You are like a car that's been riding down. You're like, let me describe this analogy. You are like a tractor trailer rig, a 16-wheel tractor trailer rig full of heavy steel, and you are barreling down the highway. Now all of a sudden you see in front of you a cute little rabbit or a cat trying to walk across the street, and you want to avoid hitting that. So you hurry up, you slam on the brakes, you turn the wheel, but the chances are you're going to squash that poor little cat or that poor little rabbit because you're traveling too fast. The inertia is too strong. And that's the same way with all of this. That's the same with all of these affirmation campaigns. It's not that your affirmation campaign started 1 or 2 campaigns ago. No. Your affirmation campaign started the moment you were born. Every thought, every action you had builds up to this big tractor trailer rig. The only difference now is you're doing directed thoughts, directed vocalizations right now. You have crawled out of the back of the truck into the driver's seat. That's the difference. And you can move the steering wheel around a little bit. Yes, you can. But there's no way you're going to be able to make quick turns unless you've been sitting in that driving cab at the steering wheel for a period of time and you've gotten accustomed to driving. I've been doing it now for some time, so I'm a little bit more accustomed to driving things. I can turn things relatively quickly compared to somebody who just started. It doesn't mean I'm better. It just means that I have a little bit more practice at it, and it has nothing to do with ELF implants or anything like that. It has nothing to do with any of that stuff. All it has to do is your ability to do things. And all of you have that. Which is also one of the reasons why I said if you can't do something positive and make positive change in the area around you. At least be neutral. Whatever you do is you don't want to do negative stuff. And I know the emotions can drive all kinds of rage, can cause all kinds of bad things to happen. Don't let it get to you. It's easy for me to say. No, it's not easy for me to say. Rage is something I have to deal with because some of the majestic issues set up inherent rage triggers, which is a subject, I suppose, that I can talk about at some other time. I wrote about this in one of my books, about how when I was being decommissioned, retired. But the rage triggers aren't really good. And everybody has rage, okay? Mine was just cultivated into certain monsters. But you all have to know how to deal with it. So I want you all to calm down over it, okay? And one of the keys to calming down is expectations, right? Not about your expectations. Stop watching the commercials that say buy, 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 okay? You need a reset from all that nonsense of buy, 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 buy that's hitting you all the time. Just give it a break. So, first thing is you have to be doing your constant affirmations, and it's a campaign after campaign after campaign you're going to do for the rest of your life. And the second thing is that it's cumulative, and you are fighting some of the stuff that you set in motion way back earlier in the day when you were younger, maybe 20s and 30s, or 12. So you're kind of fighting those issues. But once you get in that cabin, you start driving, you'll be able to go to places, be able to do things, be able to accomplish things. It's really, really good. Make sure, a third point here is you have to make sure that you are vocalizing properly. Now, when I was young, I started getting interested. I think I was a junior in high school. I got interested in weightlifting. I started weightlifting. And man, oh man, it took off. But I just started lifting. I didn't know how to do it. So I was just trying to do, thinking that the number of times I lifted the weights was how I improved my muscle strength. And then the coach comes on over and says, no, you're doing it wrong. He says, don't do 15 of those. Do 3 of them. I was like, 3? He says, do 3, but do them really slow. And it was harder, but my muscles were boom. And it's the same way. You don't want to just go say affirmations very, very quickly and then out the door because you're going to be late for work or something. An affirmation like, I have a nice new I have a brand new nice new car. And you say it like this, I have a brand new nice new car. No, you say, I have a brand new nice red car. You notice how I said that? I have a brand new red nice new car. I defined the attributes of the subject. I pronounced them loudly. When you're doing your affirmations, enunciate. I've said this before, but it doesn't hurt to be reminded. When I did this in my affirmations, and I was really doing it, I was doing a couple of years worth of affirmations before I figured it out. You have to do it clearly, or else the result will be jumbled mumble. If you whisper your affirmations, the manifestation will be whispered. They'll be hardly there. They'll be transparent, if that makes any sense. But if you say it solidly, it will manifest solidly. What you want will happen. Now, I want to talk something a little bit different here. Okay, the fourth point here, I never mentioned this before, but I'm going to mention it to you guys now. And that is very, very simple. There are some objects, some concepts, some things that manifest easier than others. Now, I used to think that it was simply because I'm unique and I'm different, and some things for me are harder to manifest than others because of my past or my background or this or that. But I'm beginning to see it because I'm reading other people's responses and comments about the things that manifested in their lives. And it seems to me that the answer isn't in so much as the baggage that you are dragging along as you're this tractor trailer rig going down this highway, but rather that there are some attributes that are easily changed through affirmations and others that require 2 or 3 coordinated changes to manifest. Boy, oh boy, I think I just lost you guys here. All right. Imagine a marble. And I wish I had some marbles with me, but imagine a marble. Let's suppose you want to manifest a marble, okay? And then let's suppose you wanted to manifest a group of marbles. The manifesting of the group of marbles will be harder to manifest in a single marble because there's more elements to it. Followed me? I wish I had my Lego blocks here. Oh, goodness gracious. In short, the components of what you desire are what you need to manifest. Some things manifest easy because they're simple. It's just a one singular component. Others are harder to manifest because it has multiple components. So what I'm describing now is that there are multiple components, multiple issues involved in the length of time that it takes for you to have your desires manifest. It's not as simple as the number of world lines you have to traverse, because some of your desires are way, way out there, but also the makeup of the wish, the desire that you're trying to do. The more components that desire has, the more things have to come together. The more complex things are, the further out it is. Now there's a solution to this. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I have no idea. It could be in casual conversation, maybe not placed here for you guys. But basically, how do you eat an elephant? Well, you do it in small bites. And the technique is going to be along those lines. I'm going to use an example. Let's suppose your overall goal is to have a house on the beach on Cape Cod with a traditional home, a traditional Cape Cod home with 5 bedrooms and a beautiful beach view and a wide area or a parking garage. That's your goal. You could specify all those things at once, and thus your desire now has many components to it. Okay? You have the components of a garage, you have components on a beach, you have components in a specific location, you have components on style, and you can do that. But you and I don't know how long it will take for all those components to come together. They could come together relatively quickly, say because all homes in Cape Cod are Cape Cod style, therefore they're all together like that. Or you could specify something like, I want an Art Deco home in Cape Cod. Well, that really narrows things down, and you're going to have some parts that's going to be very, very hard to obtain. They're going to be further out on your template. So the way to mitigate this, because you don't know what's going to be involved, the best way to mitigate this is to do it in bite sizes. And what I do is I argue that the best way to make things into bite sizes is to go broad. Have a campaign with broad statements. Then as you get closer to your goals, you narrow them down. So let's suppose you do a couple of campaigns where you're saying, I own a house in Massachusetts. Doesn't matter where, but you own a house in Massachusetts. When it'll be easier to manifest than say, I own a house on the beach in Cape Cod, okay? So you'll relatively quicker go to Massachusetts. An opportunity will present itself, you will be there. And then from there you say, I live on the beach in Cape Cod. That's your second series of campaigns. Then you say, my house is a standard Cape Cod house that's on the beach, and it has a 2-car garage. It's a step, a step, a step. It's been my personal experience that things manifest much quicker if you do them this way, rather than I own a home. You can do it, but you might be setting yourself up for all kinds of stuff. So just pretty much handle it that way. I advise that, don't you know? Now, okay, so there's a number of factors that are going into the general positioning of your goals upon your main template. And what you really want to do then is simplify things as you march towards your objectives. These are key points. So when I'm hearing things from people and they're saying, you know, I start campaigns, I'm working on my second campaign, but I'm not seeing anything right now, all I can say is, good lordy, guys. You're only on your second campaign? How many months is that? It doesn't work like that. This is, you know, it's like a stew. You got to cook it for a while before it manifests. Then it manifests. Some of the most impossible things can manifest. They really can. But you got to let them cook, and you got to do it right. I think I've said this before. I might be repeating myself due to various reasons, but it's like lifting weights, okay? You know, when I was young, I used to try to think that you do the most number of weights and that's how you make your muscle get bigger. No, 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 no. The coach says, hey, look, you're doing it wrong. Instead of trying to do 50 arm curls, just do 10, but do them perfectly. Do them slow. And I'm going, oh. And it was harder, but my muscles went really big like that. That's the way it works. Don't you know? So the key to attaining your goals is to enunciate them, keep them simple, have an overall map of where your goals are going to be so you know exactly that you're saying things in sequence to make them happen. Okay? And as you do that, you will start seeing things manifest. And as I've said before, the most impossible things can actually manifest. I'm going to tell you something right now that I've never talked about in a video, but I have written about it. Time does not exist. If you are paying attention to the WorldLine template, time is that vector as you go from one world line to another world line to another world line to another. That's time. But you can go to a world line way in the back over here if you wanted to. The world line itself, the template itself, is timeless. So let's suppose that there is a law saying, it has to take place in America, because America's always making laws. There is a law that says that you're not allowed to have shoelaces. Shoelaces are banned. It's a recent law. And some reason is you are really upset about that, so you put it in your affirmations. If you are thinking in a linear state of mind, you're thinking that someday in the future, they'll repeal that law. Don't ever think like that. No. You go to a world line where that law does not exist. Think like that. It may be way over in the past. You kind of passed it a couple years ago. But on the template. Okay? So keep that in mind. The template, what you're concerned about is the surface of the template. And that surface is undulating and constantly changing because that's the highest probability of events from where you are at this moment. So if you want something like that where you're allowed to have shoelaces, you're going to start seeing world lines kind of float up to the surface and appear, or other ones sink down and get on the surface. Okay? Affirmation campaigns, talking about them, I'm sure there are a number of people in the audience that are like, not affirmation campaigns again. Oh, this is so boring. I don't want to hear this stuff. I want to hear about this, and I want to hear about that. And I got it, guys. I understand. But there's nothing more fundamentally important than taking control of your life. If you want to have a good life, then you have to do affirmation campaigns. It's that simple, no matter what it is. If there is some information you want, if there is something you want to see happen, you do your affirmation campaigns and you vocalize them, and it will happen. Not only on a personal basis, but perhaps on a national basis or global basis. It's all up to you. Okay, guys, that's it for now. I hope that this was beneficial to you, and in every day and in every way, please keep in mind, I believe in you.